The latest on the condition of actor Christopher Reeve.
His spinal cord is damaged, but in continuity. It has not been cut in half.
Dr. John Jane says that Reeve will undergo an operation on Monday to fuse his two upper vertebrae.
Many of us, I think, are tempted to say when we hear of accidents like this, if it happened to me, I think I just wish that I'd been killed.
First, when I started my career, my answer was like everybody else. I'd rather be dead. But knowing the response of virtually all of my patients is that they rather fight.
Ironically, Christopher Reeve led a campaign for riding safety, for protective helmets. But they don't protect the rider's neck. Michael Matt says riders are trained how to fall.
We always try to tell people that if they fall off, never hold on to the horse. If we fall off, try to roll up in a ball and roll away.
But sometimes things happen too fast. For riders who know him, Christopher Reeve isn't Superman, but a gentleman who has their prayers.
We all have to count our blessings and hope for the best for Christopher and hope he pulls through this.
His family remains at his bedside. Christopher's brother, Benjamin.
Clearly, this is a difficult time for him and for us, but I can tell you also that it is lighted by moments of grace, and I can tell you that we do remain hopeful.
And just like Reeve's co-stars, tragedy would also strike him down.
When Christopher Reeve went over that horse, right over the head, went over the jump and landed on his neck and was taken to the hospital, paralyzed. He had what's known as a C2 break, and that refers to the number of vertebrae. I think it's the second or third vertebrae down.
Reeve currently has no movement or spontaneous respiration. He may require surgery to stabilize the upper spine in the near future. At this time, it is premature to speculate about his long-term prognosis.
He stopped, and I wasn't, really paying attention, and I just went over his head, straight down, sort of like a jackknife right into the ground, and managed to actually disconnect my head from my spinal column. And the surgeons managed to put my head back on.
Of course, when I heard about the accident, it was horrible, quite horrible.
My initial thought was, oh my gosh, of all the people to have it happen to, Chris was the wrong one. Not because it was going to obviously impede his athletics, which he was very good at, but because he had never been an introspective guy. He had not been someone who'd surfed the internal terrain, as it were. And I thought, boy, I don't know if he's going to be able to handle this at all. Well,
his first reaction when he learned where the break was and what happened was despair. And that turned to thoughts of suicide. In fact, he talked with his wife, Dana, about whether or not he should commit suicide.
But this was Superman, and against all the odds, he was determined to walk again.
One of my core beliefs is that I will not be spending the rest of my life in a wheelchair. To stand up and take a few steps would be fantastic. Would be miraculous.
He never made it. After a 10-year struggle to overcome his paralysis, Christopher Reeve, the most famous Superman of all time, died in October 2004 from a massive heart attack.
What do you remember of those first days?
Well, I got to be honest with you and say that they had me pretty snowed.
Yeah.
But I am a blank from warming up my horse for the cross-country phase of the competition that I was in. That was Saturday afternoon, May 27th, until the following Wednesday when I came out of the morphine enough. Total blank, but I've been able to put pieces together by talking to people.
It was last Memorial Day when Reeve was riding a well-trained chestnut-colored thoroughbred named Eastern Express. During a competition like this one, Reeve was approaching what experienced riders say is an easy 3.5-foot jump. But for some inexplicable reason, Eastern Express stopped dead in her tracks just as she reached the hurdle. Reeve was catapulted headfirst onto the ground. Had a spectator not cleared an airway, Reeve would have died at the scene.
You know, one of the things that I couldn't understand is like why, I mean, to end up a quadriplegic off a training level jump is virtually impossible. And I was not able to piece that together. Why didn't I put my hands down? Why didn't I?
Yeah, why didn't you fall with your hands? Or
Should have been like tripping over your shoelaces, you know?
Why didn't you brace yourself? Yeah.
Get up and say, oh darn, and get back on the horse and keep going. Finally, I got some information from somebody who was at the scene and said what happened was, as your horse pulled back, and I went forward, I had the great misfortune to get my hand stuck in the horse's bridle. So it's like going over with your hands tied, and that's why I landed straight on my head. 200 pounds going straight down like a nail. And then I flipped over, hyperextended and flipped over. And lay very still.
You were wearing a helmet.
Oh, of course, a helmet and a body protector.
And you had done this jump before.
Oh, of course, so I'm equipped and qualified.
And it was not a particularly dangerous jump.
No,
I mean, you were not, what I'm getting at is, you were not Christopher Reeve, the daredevil.
Gee, I think I'll go out and jump a cross-country course.
Yeah.
I train 6 days a week. See, when I do a sport or a hobby, I take it to as high a level as I can go, and I don't do things carelessly or recklessly.
So you don't say, what if I'd done this, or what if I'd done that?
No, this is absolute freak. When I first was coming out of, you know, consciousness, and you have the thought, maybe it's not worth everybody's trouble. And I had that thought for maybe 10 minutes.
That you wanted to die, pull the plug, whatever.
Yeah, I suggested maybe I should just check out. And then Dana said to me, you're still you, and I love you.
Do you know when he made the decision not to have you do this, or not to have someone do this?
It was when the children walked in the room.
And I could see how much they needed me and wanted me. What happens to me when I have a problem is I get embarrassed. I go like, oh, I don't want to cause you people trouble. And I don't want people to have to be burdened to take care of me, you know? That was my thought briefly on that afternoon. And then the minute they all came in and I could see the love and feel the love and know that we're still a family and that we're great and how lucky we all are, and that my brain is on straight. That thought vanished and has never come back again.